I pushed the button. How you doing, guys? Let's see here. So, I think I got everything ready that I need. I just made, well, I just remade a video. And I think it's very significant because the claim is that the footage we're going to see in a few minutes that I'm going to play, which is, we'll just watch a video that I made, but it's about something that NASA did. So the claim is that this is legitimate footage taken from the space shuttle. So whether a person believes in any of that, that's really not too important for this video, but I do want you to just consider that the claim that NASA's making. Elizabeth, how you doing? Good to see you. It's kind of cool. I don't have to type it in this time. I can just say hi. So some of you are probably aware of the image that I had for the thumbnail on this video. It's like a line, and then there's like this little thing next to it. Well, we're gonna see a lot of that, and in the video I'm going to explain, or actually the NASA people will explain kind of what the context of it is, like how they got the video, and I think it's kind of different. But after the video, then I'm going to come on and we're going to go through some Bible verses that show us possibly what a better explanation than NASA has of what this video has in it. So I can probably start playing the video right now, and it's just going to be me talking again, and I might even pause the video and pipe in, because I made the video a while ago, or parts of it a while ago, and if I feel like I might have to pause it and read a Bible verse, a significant Bible verse, I will. So I just want you to understand what NASA is believing. Okay, so you know how people say NASA lies, or they lie, or things like that. I understand the concept, but my disagreement with most people on that, and you'll see me saying this a lot, I'll say we don't struggle against flesh and blood, and I truly mean that. That, like, it's hard. It's a concept that until I considered the way that I do now, I was under a entirely different reality, and when I realized that the people at NASA aren't lying, they aren't lying at all. They're going to work and they're building whatever they're building, and they're doing whatever they're doing, but they are lying, but they're not lying, if that makes any sense. I'm not trying to confuse anyone. I'm just saying that the people that are involved in launching these rockets and shuttle and stuff, they are believing the thing that they're doing. It's part of reality in their understanding. And so the argument I would make with most people when they say the word they, like they lie to us, or they have a Hollywood set, or whatever, all the things that get said, the thing I would hope that people could understand is that Paul told the Ephesians that we do not struggle against flesh and blood, and it's against powers and principalities and the rulers of the darkness of this world, which is, where's darkness? It is in the sky. So and then it says spiritual wickedness in high places. In the Greek there says cosmic powers of evil in the heavenly realm. So we're talking about in the heavenly realm. So we're talking about in the sky, and that's quite important when NASA is going into the sky, into that darkness. So I think the title of this video was, do you want to see what hell looks like, or something like that. We're going to watch right now, and then I'll explain with a bunch of Bible verses in 2 Peter and Jude and the book of Enoch, and I'm not sure where else we'll end up, but maybe what some of the things Jesus was saying about outer darkness. And then also we'll talk about the globe and how the idea of hell on a globe is quite misunderstood. And the idea of outer darkness, because I'll explain that right now, what I think. But if Earth is round, and I don't mean spherical, I mean round like a dinner plate, and flat, just like we experience. Ground is always down, sky is always up. If that was the Earth and it's round like this, what's outside of it? It's outer darkness. So, hi Barb. The word hell in the Bible is translated from only 3 words: Sheol, Hades, and Gehenna. Yep. Literal trash heap, or Gehenna is a reference to a literal trash heap in Jerusalem. Okay. And Sheol is exactly the same place that I'm talking about. Tartarus, the desert in Dudael, the wilderness, a waste and horrible place, the blackness of darkness. There's a lot of different names it has, but it is the abode of evil spirits, and it's actually a prison for fallen angels and transgressing stars. So that's something that Enoch said, that people don't seem to grasp. If we think about, hey Roderick, Spare Room Music, good to see you. Same back to you. Hope you had a good holiday or whatever day it was. Present, let me share. Not sure what that means. Present. Oh, present. Okay. But this place that I'm talking about is what I was taught is space. And if you're on a globe, it's like under you and above you, it's all around this globe, right? But the way I am understanding it, that is that's just to mislead, because outer darkness is beyond the earth, at the end of the earth. Like, think of, actually I should have brought a photo of, like, from a high altitude balloon, or like any of the photos that are taken up high. You see the bright earth, on the bottom part, and you see black above it. So like if you go high enough in the air, it's like black. Barb says Hades and Sheol, I'm guessing, are the Hebrew and Greek words for the place that the soul sleeps until resurrection. But there's only there is an important distinction to make there. Not all souls, because there's I like what you're saying, literally the grave, not a burning place of suffering. It's not burning yet. It's the waters above right now, the great deep. But here's the thing. It's for the evil spirits, or for the souls of sinners. Okay. There's a different place, Abraham's bosom, or a lot of different names for paradise, for other people. Joe Gossens, hello, how you doing? Oh, thanks, Roderick. Yeah, that's Enoch stuff is really heavy stuff. I mean, I don't have my book of Enoch right here, or do I? No, I don't. Chapter 67 of this is for Barb. You said look it up. I'm gonna ask you to look something up, because it'll give you a little bit of maybe insight on what we're talking about. Enoch chapter 67. That's talking about the waters above, and they're dark waters, thick clouds of the skies. those waters, they turn into fire at the end. And actually, if you read the last verse in Enoch 67, you'll see what I mean. But it's the place of punishment for the angels. Cool. Awesome. Oh, okay. So you guys ready to watch this video or what? The English word hell is the improper translation for the grave, plus hell in our culture is not even close to the meaning in the Bible. Well, I'm referring mostly to a place. To outer darkness, or whatever you want to call it. Your first description, where the soul sleeps or whatever. After someone dies, depending on which side they're on, exactly, spare room music. You're right, and that's darkness. Darkness doesn't have any light in it. Like, you notice how the sun is in space or whatever, and it doesn't light anything up except for the ground, and, well, it depends on how you look at it, but maybe the moon or the planets or something. But in my understanding, those are actually lights. The moon is a light, the sun is a light, and even the planets are lights. But what they are, they're angelic, so they're not like objects. They're actually like spiritual beings. So are you guys ready to watch the video? I think you are. I think I am too. So let's just watch it, and I might pipe in. It's about 10 minutes long, so spare room music. Okay. But the moon is a light. Spare room music. Let me. I got a verse for you that might make you think. No, you're not a pain. I appreciate you coming around. I do. You've been on this channel for a long time. I think I even remember your other name. And I won't say it, but I think it started with a C, if I'm right. If I'm right. Yeah, I think that's what it was. But it like maybe your channel name changed, but I don't know. I might be wrong. But Enoch 41, verse 8, I think, it talks about the moon being a light or being darkness. The path of, or the, what is it? The path of the moon being light to the righteous and being darkness to the sinners. Something to think about. Oh, that's cool. Spare room music. That's cool. All right, ready? Let's watch this video. And it's about 10 minutes, but I'll come back or I'll be here the whole time. But all right, hopefully I got everything set up right. We'll see. Okay, this is a 1996 space shuttle mission, STS-75. I wanted to show you some interesting footage. So this is a satellite. Who cares what it's about? But it has a tether, and they were going to tether it from the shuttle on their mission when they were in orbit. So they do the thing, and they get it up there, and they start deploying it with this boom they have, and something happens as they deploy the actual satellite. There's a tether, you'll see here. There's a tether at the bottom of that that's kind of just holding it together there. Well, there you go, you see it there. As the tether extended out and out and out, it actually broke. And this is where I think some things are even being revealed now in 2018 with some of this old footage. Okay, there you see it breaking. Okay, now there's going to be several minutes of footage here following this that as this thing is floating away from them, they'll be talking too, so you can get something out of that. But they retract in the boom because they lost it, and now they're just tracking it, and they're going to be filming it here from the top of the shuttle. So listen into what they say, and after the footage, I will come back.
Again, this is a view of the satellite.
Well, if it had to break, it did it in the right place.
So,
Commander Andy Allen reported earlier that the tether apparently broke inside the boom in Columbia's cargo bay, with only about 10 meters of tether left attached in the cargo bay.
we're going to downlink some camera A to you.
Columbia and the satellite now 77 nautical miles apart. Again, that call reporting that the crew can see the tether and see the satellite. That it's beautiful. This view showing the satellite. Again, just moving into sunrise. 81 nautical miles now from Columbia.
You guys getting the image?
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
Well, the long line is a tether, and there's a little bit of debris that kind of flies with us, and it's illuminated by the sun at such low angles. So there's a lot of stray light, and it's getting washed out quickly, but Claude is trying to do a quick, good job here adjusting the cameras.
Copy that.
Again, that description by the crew, this is the tether in the satellite with approximately 12 miles of tether still attached to it. Columbia and the satellite now just passing over the west coast of northern Africa. The two spacecraft now 90 nautical miles apart. Controllers for the satellite did have communications with it during the close pass between Columbia and the satellite.
I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
This is Babylon, and these are fallen angels, or evil spirits, devils, and they're imprisoned up there where NASA is going.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
And beyond this chasm I saw a place, and it had neither the sky above it, nor the foundation of earth below it. There was no water on it, and no birds, but it was a desert place. And a terrible thing I saw there, 7 stars like great burning mountains, and like a spirit questioning me, the angel said, This is the place of the end of heaven and earth. This is the prison for the stars of heaven and the host of heaven. This is the prison for the stars of heaven and the host of heaven. This is the prison for the stars of heaven and the host of heaven.
Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
And the stars which roll over the fire, these are the ones which transgressed the command of the Lord from the beginning of their rising, because they did not come out at their proper times. And he was angry with them, and bound them until the time of the consummation of their sin, in the year of mystery. And Uriel said to me, the spirits of the angels who were promiscuous with women will stand here, and they, assuming many forms, made men unclean, and will lead men astray so that they sacrifice to demons as gods. And they will stand there until the great judgment, on which they will be judged, so that an end will be made of them. There was a great fire there, which burnt and blazed, and the place had no cleft reaching into the abyss, full of great pillars of fire, which were made to fall. Neither its extent nor its size could I see, nor could I see its source. Then I said, how terrible this place is, and how painful to look at. Then Uriel, one of the holy angels, who was with me, answered me. He answered me and said to me, Enoch, why do you have such fear and terror because of this terrible place, and before this pain? And he said to me, this place is the prison of the angels, and there they will be held forever.
And we have main engine cutoff. And stage separation has been confirmed. And you can see the first stage there flipping back. Use the nitrogen thrusters. And the boost back burn of that first stage. And we've entered the entry burn startup.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
This is a 25-second burn.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire,
shutdown,
and burn her with
stage.
fire, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
And landing burn has hit startup, and we have ignition.
And burn her with fire, and burn her with fire, and burn her with fire.
So the landing laser play in a few seconds. And we have touchdown.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
All right. So that was that. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can do this right and switch back to me again. Oops. Let's see. Did it work? Hey, it worked, I think. All right. So yeah, I saw some good comments there. Rocket. I'm just checking. I should start. I was going backwards. Roderick was down at the bottom there. I'm going to go up a little bit. I like just in times, or just in times. It's 562's comment. Rewind it, Joe. You missed the proof of the curvature of Earth. LOL. I thought that was good. Okay, so Roderick said under a microscope, and I've heard, a lot of people say that, but there's a concept here that I don't really know if I'm not saying that I'm right or something, but there's something to think about anyway. I want to see, let's see, where can I do this? Oh, I know how I can do it. I actually have one. I just have to find it. Let's see. Effects, image. I gotta find it. It'll take me a second. But I have a star that it's Arcturus or whatever. And what I did is I took and I made a animated GIF or whatever that was transparent background. So I thought I had. Oh, there it is. Yes. Okay, so this is just this is what it pretty much what it looks like through a telescope or whatever. Now it's not. I mean, I'm not trying to say that that's exactly what it looks like, but it flickers like that. That's just like 4 images going through like 4 images to make it like that. But I'll make it a little bigger here. Okay, so but what I noticed, I'm just telling you what I noticed is, and I'll go to that video and pull up a picture of one of those things. You know how they were, actually I could probably do that right now. Let me see here. If I add a screen, whoops, and if I go to video, okay, this is a 1996 space shuttle mission. Okay, so right about here somewhere. I'll make it bigger in a second. I just want to show you how these pulsate in a similar way to this. Whoops, I guess I can't grab my other star. It's going to be stuck there. Let's see here. It was right around here somewhere that these two kind of come onto the screen and they're pulsating, or whatever you want to call it. Whoops, I think it's right here, right after this. Yeah, okay, it should be right here.
You guys getting the image?
I'll pause it when they come on there.
We see a long line.
Okay, see that one next to it doesn't really look like it's like pulsating or whatever, but they're all similar in shape. So they're like round, and then these seem to have like a hole in the middle and like a like almost like a cut out of them. And these are not seen like all the time. Did you notice he said they were just approaching daylight or whatever? And I'm gonna address every comment that I saw during the video, because Roderick said something that was good too that we'll go over in a second. But I'm gonna play them more. Here comes these pulsating ones, I think.
Things and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
Swimming in the foreground. That's interesting.
The line is a tether, and there's a little bit of debris that kind of flies with
Should
us,
be right here, I
and,
thought. Okay, yeah, I think they're coming from the top, the two that I was talking about, or that I was thinking about.
And it's getting washed out quickly, but Claude is trying to do a quick, good job.
Okay, yeah, I think right here. So look at this thing. Do you guys see that? Of course, my video is kind of buffering.
This is the tether in the satellite. The satellite was 12.
Okay, see this one right here?
Tether still attached to it.
Now he's gonna turn, first of all, so
now just passing over
of course he goes right behind my star.
of northern Africa.
But do you see how it's flickering like that? That's, to me, that's interesting.
Apart.
I hope you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. I think you are. But for some reason I think I went way too far. Sorry. I'm just gonna skip around and try to see. But see how they're all moving around like that?
Again, just moving into sunrise.
And I'll tell you what I believe. I believe that it's a legitimate footage taken from the shuttle.
Nautical miles now from Columbia.
They're all the same. Every single one of them looks exactly the same. Has one like slice or two slices out of it, kind of, and a hole in the middle. It looks like kind of donut shaped. I was really hoping that. I thought there was 2 on there. Maybe. Anyway, I think you guys know what I'm talking about. How they kind of. I guess the right word would be pulsate or flicker, or very much like a star does. So anyway, let's see here. I'm gonna just remove that for now. Okay. Comments under a microscope. So I get it, but I don't personally. I don't think that it is. I think that it's a camera aboard the space shuttle, and that's where I need to address Roderick's comment in a second here. Elizabeth saw the same microscope idea, and Sparrow Music said out of focus debris, which it does look like that too. Just in Time 562 says, interesting, never thought of it as stars with no light. And that's just something that it looks like that to me. Maybe I'll play it. Like having this here is not like the best. I mean, you can see the edges and it looks like a cartoon, but it's similar in a way. But then Flat Out Faith, good to see you. Okay, so Roderick says, given this, we'd have to accept that they are going real high enough to float a while. And I'll give you my take on that. And I think this is true, but and I think that we're all learning this in the last few years, is that space is not anything but celestial realm. It's heaven. It's God's secret place. It's under God's feet. So it's inside of the firmament. It's darkness. And what Enoch said was, at the end of heaven and earth, that there was a waste and horrible place, and it had 7 stars like great burning mountains bound in it in heaven. So that's above us in the sky. So my take on it is that when they get going a certain speed sideways up above the earth, basically out of the air or out of the thick atmosphere, like basically where we couldn't live without some kind of pressurized like cabin or whatever, like if even in a air commercial jet, it's a pressurized cabin, because you wouldn't, it's not the same. They're much higher in the sky, and there's less air there. I'm not trying to be like all scientific. I'm just saying it. As you go up higher, it's less and less air. I've climbed I don't remember what it was, Flat Top Mountain or something in Colorado one time. It was like, I think it was 12,000 feet or something. I could barely breathe up there. And you breathe, but it's like didn't do anything. So as you go up, and then they say it's a vacuum, which is total baloney. If it was like they say it was a perfect vacuum, okay, there's so many problems with that. So many problems with that. First of all, if it was a vacuum, you would not be able to be in your little spacesuits out there. Not a chance. And a lot of people are doing videos about that. We'll talk about that another time. But so, Roderick, my take on it is that they go up high enough and fast enough, and they can break into that firmament. And people will say, no one can break through God's firmament. And I'll say, well, that's not what God said. God said they'll do whatever they put their heart, that whatever they want to do, whatever they desire to do. He said that when he came down and confounded the language at the Tower of Babel. He said, the people are all of one language and one tongue, and this is what they do. Now, I'm not quoting it, but basically he says now anything they put their mind to, they will be able to do. But he confounded the language. Now we have Google Translate. We're right back where they were then, except what did God say? They'll do anything that they decide to do. And also remember that God shall send them strong delusion, so they believe a lie. And yeah. So I'm going to check out more comments here. So that's my take on it. They are floating. But here's it. I'll try to do it even really simple. The firmament, the stars, sun and moon and stars are in the firmament of heaven. And it turns. Anybody can go outside and watch the stars. It's like they're all stuck together turning. So the sky's turning. And I'm going to say that at about 250 miles up, apparently the sky's moving about 17,000 miles an hour, the firmament. So in order to break in, they have to get booking. They have to be moving to get in there. That's what I say. And there's a lot of reasons why that in Revelation, I understand this to be fornication. And in a like a visual way, the kings of the earth, they fornicate with Babylon the Great, that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. And I think that's space. Okay, so I think I went too far down. Yeah, Roderick, you're seeing you're thinking on the same lines as me when you're like, yeah, this is a miracle. It's not something done by men. It's done by the spirits of the kings of the Medes, who are Enoch and Daniel and I don't know who else, or Jeremiah. These spirits of these kings are horns, first of all. John and Daniel both said that the kings were horns. So if they're horns, you just got to think about, well, actually, let's see here. No, I'm not going to try to do that. Horns are shaped like conical shape, right? Horns. Or like maybe a horn on an animal might be like curved a little or something. I don't know. I'm just saying horns are not men, because if they were men, Daniel and John would have just said they're men. But they said they were horns. So it's very important. And the horns are the kings. And those kings, they go into Babylon. They fornicate with Babylon. So I'm not trying to be all graphic. I'm just saying John described what he was seeing with his words. He gave us his testimony. He said there was an angel telling him this too. But he said, actually, I'll grab my Bible because there's a couple passages towards the end of Revelation that are really important. Let's see here. I think it's at the end of 17. Yeah. Revelation 17, verse 16. 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest, like with his eyes, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. The horns burn Babylon with fire. Very important. And then it says, for God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. What are the words of God? What did Jesus say? He said the stars will fall like untimely figs from a fig tree in a strong wind. And the powers of heaven will be shaken. Okay. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And then actually we learn a little bit more in Revelation 2. It says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great. So Babylon, Mystery Babylon, that great city or whatever. Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And if we look at the Greek for that, it's a prison for evil spirits or fallen angels. And Enoch chapter 18, it says, Uriel tells Enoch this waste and horrible place that he went to at the end of heaven and earth, that had no water and no what was it? Yeah, no water and no birds or something like that. That place was a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. This place, and you know what? He says it the exact same way. He says, this place has become. Just like John or the angel there says, I think that's Uriel in Revelation 18 verse 2, because he says it the same way. Is become the habitation of devils. And in Enoch 18 he says, this place has become the prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And then he explains it even more. He says, the stars which roll over the fire are them which transgressed the commandment of the Lord and didn't come out at their proper time at the beginning of their rising. That's like what is that? The fourth day. The fourth day. They didn't do what God ordained them and created them to do. And so what did God do? He bound them there until judgment. So there's 7 stars that are disobedient or whatever, and they were bound in that place. And I think it's just talking about space. And Jude backs that up. He says, oh, you know what? We got to talk about the sea. Because those waters above, they're going to turn to fire. And I think it's... I don't know if it says this anywhere, but I believe that dragon is the horn that is going to start it on fire. Pretty sure about that. Enoch says, let's see here, I'm just gonna check out some of these comments. I kind of forgot about the comments. So speaking of a miracle, Roderick, a rocket burn up high is still what's called a miracle. Yeah. And landing a rocket, making fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles that he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Just think of a landing rocket. A pencil, like, that's... how tall are they? I can't remember how tall they are. I'm just having I want to say that are they 230 feet tall? That's really tall. I'm going to look it up right now. How tall is Falcon 9? 230 feet tall. 230 feet tall. Do you guys know what 230 feet tall is? I'm just going to see 230 feet tall. To see if there's anything to... Okay, some of the highest roller coasters get to 230 feet. That's probably some of the highest. Measure of things, 200 feet. Let's just see here. I'm just looking. Of course, Falcon 9 comes up. How high is... like... I compare it to a building in Minneapolis that's like 700 feet tall. So if they stacked up 3 Falcon 9s, it would get to the top of that building. And that's a huge building. It's the IDS Tower. So I'm just... to make that thing land, to me, that's a miracle. That's like... and that's why, I mean, so many people think it's fake. But in my understanding, like the Bible, John in Revelation, he just says it's a... I'll read it. Okay, and this is interesting because what is... okay, the Falcon 9 rocket... do I have a... maybe I can put an image up or something. I don't want to lose my train of thought. The Falcon 9 rocket is just the bottom part of the rocket that has all the... it has 9 Merlin engines on it. And the Dragon capsule is a little capsule with a trunk on it. And that goes up on top of the Falcon 9 rocket. So the Falcon 9 rocket just lifts it up there and then comes back down in a very general, simple explanation. Goes up there, comes back down for a soft landing. And what does it use to so it doesn't slam into the ground? It uses thrust, which is fire. It uses fire to arrest its super fast velocity, and then there's a sonic boom because it's moving faster than the speed of sound. And so it comes down and lands, and you hear boom, boom. To us, with our sciencey minds, that's just... yeah, it's just going faster than the speed of sound. But for those of us who know that we are living in a created reality, that that there's a spiritual existence of something other than just physical and material on this earth. Revelation 13. So this Falcon 9, like, this is right in here. John saw this, and he says, it's in Revelation 13 verse 11. He says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Now, the Falcon 9 rocket, there's a couple ways to look at that. The logo on it, it happens to be like a falcon, kind of, with 2 horns. But even more interesting than that, the Falcon 9 rocket is a 2-stage rocket. It has that bottom part, and then the second stage is what after the Falcon 9, or I should say the booster stage, I don't know what they call it, first stage. After that is got it high enough or fast enough or whatever, the second stage will fire, which is just one Merlin engine. Then that'll sit and fire and get it up to wherever they think they're going. But it's interesting because in verse 13, it tells that same beast, he does great wonders so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth. So it comes up out of the earth, speaking like a dragon, and then he makes fire come back down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them. We already know that. I know Roderick knows that. A lot of people in here know that. Deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. So it calls making fire come down from heaven. That's a miracle that he has power to do in the sight of the beast. So there's that. I don't see how anyone can not see that. He says, "I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth." Now remember, John, this was 2,000 years ago. Like, I made a video that I think Roderick commented on it. I don't remember what I called it. Enoch gives us warning, and so do I, or something like that. In that video, I tried to put it into perspective, like how long we've been flying. Just over 100 years. So if we go back 120 years to be safe, before anyone was flying, we were bound to the ground. Humans on Earth, we didn't go up in the sky. That's for birds. We didn't explore the sky. We didn't fly from here to there. If you wanted to travel somewhere, you were traveling on foot, or behind a horse, or on a horse, or you get what I'm saying? It's only been 100 years, or just over 100 years, that we've had all this transportation and all this instant, if you need something, you can get it. And like all this convenient life that we've been living for our entire lives. Well, I'm trying to say, because we've been living in a time where they're going to the moon and they're exploring space, and commercial flights are $69 for a round trip, or you know what I mean, at whatever it is. That is new. That's something this world has never seen for the last 2,000 years, up until just 100 years ago or so. So that, I was trying to put that in perspective in my last video, saying the Wright brothers started flying these. They started figuring out how to propel themselves, and then they started fine-tuning it. And there's a lot of people doing this. There was a lot of people doing this, but I just use the Wright brothers because everyone knows about them. But to think about how fast we went from, those guys literally laying on a wing, or on a like a stack of wings, and with some cables, and trying to steer, and like trying to glide down a hill, to Harrier jets, commercial flights where there's nearly never an accident. Like the percentage of I don't know the right word. They never crash. Like the chances of someone getting on a commercial jet and crashing is like, it's like zero. It's like almost zero. There's millions of flights without mishap. Every year, for sure. What I'm saying is that it's something that we've kind of, and we take this for granted, but we've kind of mastered something. And people point out that there's chemtrails or contrails or whatever they want to call it. But you got to think about what's happening. This is a new technology where we take a jet engine. What does a jet engine do? It heats up the air big time and compresses it and pushes it out really fast. So it should be interesting to anyone that in this book of Revelation, it's all about the wind and the air. That's what's going to destroy the earth. It's in Revelation 7 that, let's see, I'll just read a couple verses. Just listen to what he says about these angels holding the four winds. And then we can learn about what the four winds are if we want. In Enoch chapter 18, right at the beginning, Enoch goes and sees the treasuries of the winds, and he tells us what they do. But in Revelation 7, John says, after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So those four angels, it was given to them to hurt the earth and the sea. And he says to them, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. So that is telling me that when those four angels loose those winds or let go of those, whatever they're holding, that it's going to hurt the earth and the sea. So if we think about this is a story happening. So Enoch chapter 18, Enoch tells us about the treasuries of the winds, and I guess I should just open it up and read it a little bit. I'm not going to do a screen share. I'm just trying to basically go over two things. Those waters above, there's something that's going to happen to them, and we'll go over that. But the winds, sorry, I was opening in 2 pages. Okay, the winds, Enoch, let's just listen to what Enoch says here. This is chapter 18 of the first book of Enoch. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished them with the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. Let me read that verse again. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished them with them. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds which bear the earth and the firmament of heaven. Do you guys get that? So those angels are holding back the four winds, and when they let go, apparently those winds aren't going to be bearing the earth and the firmament of heaven anymore. And he had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. So the winds are very important, the four winds. And then he says, and this is verse 3, and I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven and have their station between heaven and earth. Remember how we were talking about the gradient of air, and then there's no air above that or whatever, or next to no air, between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. So these winds are the pillars of the heaven. I saw the winds of heaven which turn. So this would probably be talking about it says here, sorry. I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. And that's what I'm talking about, is moving really fast. It has to be moving pretty fast. Turning. But it says it brings the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. for everyone. So as it's turning, when they get far enough of the way, they are past your perspective. You can't see them. And then it says, I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. And that's when he goes, and I proceeded and saw a place which burns day and night. Okay, so Enoch 67, this is what I was talking about, those waters turning into fire. I'll just read the last verse. It's verse 13 in Enoch 67. Because these waters of judgment minister to the healing of the body of the kings and the lust of their body, therefore they will not see and will not believe that those waters will change and become a fire which burns forever. And it's talking about the waters that the angels are punished in. Let's see, I'll just read... Okay, verse 11 says, and those same waters will undergo a change in those days. For when those angels are punished in these water springs shall change their temperature. And when the angels ascend, and I think this is talking about dragon, and when the angels ascend, this water of the springs shall change and become cold. So I don't understand that, but I do know that those waters... Oh, hold on. Let's see here. I gotta go back here so oops, wrong one. I want to check the comments, so I kind of got away from the comments. And I didn't hit this down arrow yet, so... Okay. A rocket burning underneath is the same as a star falling. Well, and that's... Yeah, Roderick, you're getting it. You totally understand what... You're in the right direction. Okay, in Revelation 12, John says... that he saw... Oh, I better go there. Because it's the dragon's tail that casts the stars down. Whoops. It says... In verse 4, in chapter 12, it says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And that was right after he was talking about the wonder of a red dragon in heaven that John saw. So John saw the wonder of a red dragon in heaven. Let's see. Okay, I gotta go a little higher here. What do we got? Spirit of Music still thinks the out of focus thing. Camera struggles to find a focus point. Yes, that's true. What about when we do manual focus? Because that's what that guy was obviously doing on the shuttle. Match the pulsating star to the afterburner too. Hey, good point. And that's another thing is the ISS. To someone on the ground, all that is a wandering star. It's just a star that flies over on a schedule. It's a wandering star. So, and that's really important because John saw 7 mountains. Well, Enoch called those 7 stars that he saw, the planets, he called them mountains burning with fire. Because remember, he was at a place that burned day and night, and the stars were rolling over a fire, so they were already being tormented or punished or whatever. They were rolling over a fire. We can't see it, obviously, because otherwise we'd see it. Looks like a dandelion, cellar door says. No, I didn't mean perfect vacuum, Spirit Music. I mean a better vacuum than we can create in NASA's vacuum chamber. So, and that's a whole... If a vacuum, a vacuum doesn't even exist anywhere. A perfect vacuum it just doesn't, because you can't have a space that has no space. It's like it's like against nature. Like it just doesn't make sense. But let's see here. Yeah, they go fast. Going to here, but saw where horns are also equated with corners. Or cones, unicorns. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if you think the shape of every capsule that's ever re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, it's a conical shaped vehicle. Every single one. Well, the shuttle, I guess, isn't conical shaped, so I'm not right there. But the Apollo, Orion, and Dragon, and anything that's ever come back down, it has a big heat shield under it, and it has to be shaped like that. I mean, the shuttle was something else. Anthony Dickinson! Anthony is awesome. I just received something from Anthony in the mail, and it happens to be, I hope you don't mind if I tell people, Anthony, this. And I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can see it. 1611. I'm pumped. Thank you, Anthony. I owe you big time. Ignite the atmosphere. Recall years ago a fear someone would ignite the atmosphere. And that's exactly what's... Like, that's why I've been asking people about... like, what are the... Like, there's gases up there. I mean, I don't know how high or anything. I don't really care, but I know that there's layers of gases. I mean, we have like noble gases, and then like helium. Helium goes up, right? So what I'm saying is that what happened, like, if you had the right environment or the right conditions, could you light any of those gases on fire? If it, like, maybe the conditions are a certain way that they're not down here. It's just something to think about. Roderick says, the dragon directs, pushes with its tail. Yes, exactly. The tail. Yes, the tail. Because the Falcon 9 rocket would be the tail. Because actually, in that video, towards the end of that video, was a Falcon 9 launching and separating. And you see the boost back burn, 25-second burn, and then they have a landing burn. It's all about fire, which is interesting. Let's see here. I gotta hit the down arrow again. Oh, awesome, Anthony. That's, you hang out with your kids and watch it later. That's cool, man. Hell looks like space. Welcome, NPCHE. Yes, hell is blackness or darkness. Fire from the mouth in context can be fire from the tail, where the noise is. I don't know, but this is fun to discuss. It is fun to discuss, and I appreciate your. You have a good way about you, Roderick, because I can tell that you're not like, I know everything, because that none of us should be that way. All I'm doing is trying to make sense of what these guys told us. They said, I saw this and I saw this, and I'm listening very carefully to what they're saying. On Facebook, there's something right now that, like a comment, like, why would it have to be the fire that you say it is coming down from it? I'm like, you're misunderstanding me. It's nothing about me. It's nothing about what I'm saying. I'm pointing out to you that there's someone making fire come down from heaven on the earth with a rocket. Never happened before. And like Daniel in his vision, he saw a he-goat flying across, or what was it, flying without touching the ground, and then it goes over to this ram, and it moves at this ram with collar, and then it goes through all these, like, and up from that horn came another little horn. It's talking about stage, like Daniel's describing the stage separations of these rock, like he says, and oh man, stage separations. That's like one of the most obvious things in this Daniel 8. Let me read a couple verses in Daniel 8, and you guys tell me if you think that. Because remember, they didn't know what they were seeing. They were just seeing something they've never seen before. Remember, I was saying we've only been flying for just over 100 years. And this was 3,000 years ago or whatever. Or I don't know how, 2,700 years ago maybe. Or 2,300. Yeah, 2,700 I think. Anyway, let's look at Daniel 8. Let me just read a few verses. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but I just think of the stage separations of a rocket launch. It starts out as a full rocket. It goes up, and then part of it falls off, and the rest keeps going. And then part of that falls off, and the rest keeps going. Well, this is crazy, but okay. So it's talking about the he-goat, and it says, and he came to the ram that had 2 horns. And by the way, the word ram, it doesn't always mean an animal. You know the Temple of Solomon or whatever. At the entrance to the Temple of Solomon, there's like the entrance of it, and there's 2 structural supports, right? Like where you walk into the entrance. Those are also called rams. They're the same word that Daniel used for ram. It's A-Y-I-L. It's Strong's 352. If you look at Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, it's also a pilaster, a post, a tree, something strong, and also a ram, the animal. So it's not for sure an animal. Daniel's more likely talking about, because he said he had to lift his eyes, and like it seems like he's saying that he's using that word in a different way other than an animal, but that just got me way sidetracked there. Okay. And he ran unto him in the fear of his power, and I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. Like, just think of stage separations. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Like, think of specifically SpaceX Dragon, Crew Dragon. It has 8 what are they called, Draco thrusters or whatever, Super Dracos. They're like little rocket engines, and there's 8 of them, but there's only they're in pairs, so there's 4 flames that come out of the dragon. But then it says, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the stars and of the host to the ground and stamped upon them. And then it keeps going. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. Whoops, that's my watch. Even to the prince of the host. Who's that? That's Michael. Michael is the prince of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Now, if we go to Revelation 12, it matches perfectly, because John saw war in heaven, and he saw Michael and his angels fighting with Satan and his angels. Well, who are Michael's angels? Remember Revelation 7? There was 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds from hurting the earth and the sea. Think about it. So those 4 angels, when we watch I'm gonna have to get a video up here for you guys. I'll get rid of this star for a minute. Let's see here. I gotta add a screen. Okay, I gotta find a video, and oh, that's odd. Give me a second. I just gotta find a video just so you guys can visually see. This is footage taken from the ground, so it's not you don't have to be a space monkey to to see these things. That these are people people see these from the ground and they put it up on YouTube. I gotta go way down here. Sorry. Should be here somewhere. Okay, yeah, I always show this one, but you guys have seen this before. Right here. Oh, tell me it's gonna play. Oh, good. Okay, so this, just think about it. That is literally in 2019 in real life, on the screen above my head is SpaceX Dragon and Falcon 9 rocket, whatever. So they've separated, and the Dragon's continuing on. What I'm saying is, this is Dragon, this is Satan and his angels fighting with those angels that are holding those 4 winds. Daniel Pratt brought you here. That's awesome. Welcome. Is it Joss Gossens? AJ Blunt, welcome. Okay. Whoops. Uh-oh, what did I do? Oh, my comments are going wacky. Okay, so but this is just a rocket launch, right? In our world, just a rocket launch. But look what's happening. What's happening in this to the air? What's it doing to the air? I don't know. I'm asking. What's it doing to the air? Okay, my comments are going up and down because I keep scrolling. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, Cellar Door 33 says, wandering stars for whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And you know what it even says before that? In that verse it says, raging waves of the sea foaming out their own shame. That's the waters above. Wandering stars. So just that Jude verse 13 basically says that the wandering stars are in the waters above, which we all know. I mean, even NASA guy said, I see some things swimming in the foreground. I'm just kidding. 7 mountains are the 7 deadly sins that live in a man's heart. I disagree. The 7 mountains, according to Enoch, are 7 stars that transgressed. Or that's Uriel, the angel, but it was in the book of Enoch. Oops. That's why with a mustard seed faith we can cast those mountains into the sea. Oh, you know what, AJ Blunt? I'll tell you what I think about that. Those mountains being yes, you're right. You're 100% right. But they aren't the deadly sins. Those 7 mountains are devils. They're devils. They're those 7 stars that we call planets, that we were taught are planets. And faith, you can cast them down. That's why in, what is it, Matthew, I don't even remember where, but what you bind on, what is it, what you bind on the earth will be bound, I'm gonna screw it up, I don't remember, but we can, you know, when Jesus said they will cast out devils, that's and then moving mountains too, like with faith, flat earth. Like think of what Isaiah 40 and Luke 3 says about it says every valley shall be filled or exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low. And Isaiah said the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. And Luke 3 says, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. So that's interesting. Thank you, Roderick. And what you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Because there's a battle. We're fighting in that battle today, right now. Like, it when who can I use for an example? Let's see. There ain't as many examples of people that are filled with the Spirit as there was like 2 years ago. That's what I'm saying. Well, spare room music, I as much as I would like to use my own judgment for these things, I'm just listening to the prophets. And Enoch said that there were 7 that didn't come out at their proper time, so God bound them in a place. Well, if we look at the stars, we have I'm not going to try to find a video. Star trails. We have Polaris, the North Star. Every star in the sky is going a circle around Polaris. And if you look at, there's only 7 that are not doing that. So what I'm saying is Enoch, what he said, it remains true. So, and then like in the Bible, the stars never go off of their courses. Like, they never, I don't remember exactly how it says it, but they obey all the time. Or that's in Enoch too. It says something like to make a note of how the stars are always, they're always consistent and they never change. And then when we look up, we see those 7 that they're doing their own thing. They're doing something completely different than all the other stars. So let's see here. Doesn't that sound like a description of stage separation? When he's like, and out of them came another little horn, which waxed exceeding great, and then finally another little horn comes out of those 4 or whatever, and it goes up to the host of heaven. So it's like, I've showed that to a lot of people, and they're like, they still like tell me I'm like off. And I'm like, but can you just read what it says? Whatever Daniel saw, he did see it fly up to the host of heaven and cast the stars down. Same thing with John in Revelation 12. He said, let's see here. He said, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. You're looking at it right here. And the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan. So we're talking about our adversary. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And a lot of people like to say, "Oh, he was cast out of the earth a long time ago." No, this is John's testimony. He bears record of the word of God, and this is the testimony of Jesus, and it says that it's to show his servants what must shortly come to pass. So, as far as the time that Satan, I don't know what we would call it. I think it's in, what is it, in Ezekiel 28? Maybe it is. Let me just look. I might be in the wrong book even. I can't remember. Is it Ezekiel 28? I think this is where it talks about it. Or maybe this is the wrong, this might be the wrong chapter altogether, or book altogether. Let's see. No, this is. Okay. I think this is what other people are talking about when they're talking about Satan being cast out. I'll start Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 13. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, and beryl, and onyx, and the jasper, and sapphire, and emerald, and carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. Thy brightness. He's the bright morning star or whatever. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, and they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities. You guys getting this? By the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. That hasn't happened yet. So, but it happens today, and I'm not saying in that way, but I'm talking about SpaceX Dragon. Cast out into the earth every time it does a commercial resupply mission. It's done 20 of them now. There's been 20 missions that Dragon has gone up and then cast down and out into the earth. So whatever's happening there, in the spiritual world, it's a bad thing. So I know the result of it is going to be darkness. The sun and moon won't give their light, and I know why. I'm just gonna get rid of that. Okay, let's see here. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. So you can see this battle happening, or some people can, and I can see it happening when it's spiritual warfare, and on earth we involve ourselves in it when we speak the truth. Now, at least, I'm just saying, the last few years, when I know that when someone breaks someone free from their globe mentality, that there's evil spirits in the firmament that get angry about that. They're bound up because someone's getting freed, and it's by the truth. Sanctify them with thy truth. Thy word is truth. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. That is the world that we live in. Genesis 1. And when we say that to people that don't believe it, and they go look at it, and then they believe it, we just bound whatever hold that those evil spirits had on them. We bound them. Like, you're done. And so I'm sure that's what he's talking about. When you lose something, and then it goes the other way too, though. Like, if you're going to, I'm trying to think of an example. It goes both ways. Like, if someone's gonna lie to someone, and it affects like a message of truth, there's another battle happening. So it's like, it is a battle that happens down here, but it's a battle that happens up there. So I'm not saying like we're fighting actually with the angels, but we are. We're on the same team as Michael and his angels, and we are fighting in a war. So thanks, Sparrow Music. I urge you to just stay tuned. You know I'm serious about it. You know I'm not making, I'm not like trying to make money or something. I'm here to talk about what I've been made to understand, and that's what I've been doing for a while here. So let's see. Whoops. Project Bluebeam. Oh yeah, I don't think anything of Project Bluebeam. I think that's a truth or garbage. I mean, obviously Project Bluebeam was real, but what I'm saying is the things happening in the sky, there's actual explanations for them. SpaceX. Like I saw Dabu7, who clearly does not research before he makes a video. He just put like a picture of Starlink satellites, the Starlink chain, up on his channel, and he was like, people are seeing more of these in the sky. And he's like, you know what it is? It's SpaceX. And he goes, they've got thousands of these things up there. And I'm like, no, they got 120 of them. They've launched them twice. Like, do your homework, Dabu. I like that guy, but he's putting that video that I'm talking about had, like, the last time I looked, it had 23,000 views or something. So I'm like, 23,000 people hearing that and believing it, that would be bad, because he's not even understanding what he's saying. So, like, saying blue beam, yeah, that sounds to me like saying, oh, it's a salami sandwich. It doesn't mean anything to me, because they're at Cape Canaveral. You could go to Cape Canaveral and you could watch the thing fly up in the sky, and you could watch it do that. So whatever the rocket is or whatever, I'm just saying it's something that actually is happening on a location on the Earth, and it's a physical engine that's making all the plume. So it's something very simple to understand, like the world's explanation of it. So it doesn't have to be like some secret thing. It's just a rocket launch. But the spiritual side of that rocket launch, that's part of the battle too. That's part of the battle that's going to make the sun and moon go dark, like at the end. Like the darkness will consume the whole Earth. So that's my take. Let's see here. Roderick. Something happens where a rocket comes down angry? Not sure what you mean there. Oh, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and to the sea, for the devil has come down unto you. SpaceX Dragon. The dragon is the devil, or Satan, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So what I think that really means is that the way, okay, put it this way. I can put it in kind of a funny way. Okay, if you expect, like, just think of in your mind, okay, what is Satan going to look like when he gets cast down to the earth? What's he going to look like? Is he going to be like a dude? No. He's a metal machine, and it's technology that is the way that he manifested. So, I'm just saying, you know how the beast had 10 horns? They made 10 SpaceX Dragon capsules, the version 1. And then, if you read Daniel 7, verse 8, up from those 10 came another one, and that's the Crew Dragon. They made 10, and they've done 20 missions, so they've reused those 10, and actually one of them got destroyed. So they have 9, and they are reusing them. So they refurbish them and reuse them. They only built 10. So then now their Crew Dragon, that is what they're planning on sending people to the space station on. Or if you believe that sort of thing. Yeah, so woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because the devil is being cast down, or come down unto you. So that's my take on that. It's crazy stuff. But I don't want to make this video like a forever video, but I hope I kind of went over some stuff that's important. I think, like, for people like Spare Room Music, who thinks it's hogwash or nonsense, he says, and I do appreciate Spare Room Music, how you're very respectful and very very kind with your words and stuff. That's something that I don't see often, so thank you for that. You know, I can tell you're a genuine person or whatever, and so just please keep considering these things. Hitting close to home. All right. So yeah, should I play a couple videos? You guys want to watch some videos, or should I just end it? Because I got some videos. I can play them. I could play funny ones, or I can play whatever. Maybe the engineer company is connected to the weapons they used to attack the remnant Israel. He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. No, I think you're right. Maybe not like quite specific as you're putting it, but he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. Just think about that. Who's the man-child? The man-child, it gets caught up unto God and to his throne. He's the first fruits. So in Revelation, there's those 144,000 that get sealed in their foreheads with the seal of the living God. There's them, and then there's the woman, I guess it would be called, the woman, I guess, would be those who I can just give you my opinion on it. I see two groups of people. There's the ones that there's the 144,000 that get sealed. Like, they get sealed in their foreheads and they start singing a new song before the throne. And so they're doing something different because they got sealed. And then the next thing the next thing he sees, what does he see? He sees an innumerable multitude wearing those white robes. So whatever those 144,000 people were sealed with, that's the ticket. The seal of the living God. That's what happens to all those people, an innumerable multitude. So what I'm trying to say is that new song is the truth. It's biblical cosmology. And that doesn't save you. It makes you overcome this deception. That's what it does. Because, like I was saying, you know how the dragon, or what was it? The beast that came up out of the earth and made fire come back down from heaven. You know how that beast gets his power, or I mean, it can do those miracles in the sight of the beast, the first one. Like that's another thing. That's another thing. Check this out. You'll like this. In the King James Version, the King James Version added something that shouldn't have been added in Revelation, which is not good. But in the Greek, in Revelation 13:1, John says, in the King James, John says, I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. The Greek, it only says, I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. It never says standing on any sand. And the reason why I noticed that was because I'm like, no, that sea doesn't have sand. What are they talking? Like, John wasn't standing upon the sand of the sea at all, because that's talking about the waters above that sea. So, because it's clear in Revelation, the beast that comes up from the bottomless pit, that's that beast. So he comes up from the sea. He comes up from the bottomless pit. So that's my take on that. Yes, the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. The book of Revelation is the testimony of Jesus Christ from heaven. And the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Think about it. I want to read Revelation 1, like 1 through 3. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bare record of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ and of all the things he saw. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. That's why people call me a heretic too, because I'm keeping those things which are written therein. Or the way I understand them anyway. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so yeah, what else is there to talk about? I don't think there's anything to talk about. I've been on here an hour and a half. So alright guys, I'm gonna head out. If you want to give a thumbs up, that'd be cool. And I'm going to, I have a video that I'm working on that is funny, that I'll probably tomorrow morning or something, or whatever, or sometime. Oh, okay, so remember the shop burned down a year ago, or almost a year ago in January. Today, me and my dad just put the last of the trusses up on the new building. So we got all the trusses up. So that's cool. Just letting you guys know that. And I'm actually going to make a video of like the year of progress of cleaning up that big mess, that awful mess that took so long. And it's still not completely cleaned up, but in order to start a new building or get a new building going. And so I'll eventually make a video of that, but that might not be for a while. But just letting you guys know that the new building's up, so that's kind of exciting for my dad. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys. Thank you, Roderick, for mentioning that. And thank you guys all for coming. And I will talk to you soon, sometime. All right, see ya. Have a good